Tomi kile torotomoto shata ketela pratomoto shatkatala torotomota iata la torotomote she. Greetings and blessings, everyone. I am Alsharon of the God Star. I am in service to Source, to planet Earth, and to every star seed upon planet Earth. Greetings and blessings, everyone. Welcome to our gathering. It is time to explore some questions that many people incarnated, starseeds especially, would like to know about. If you think about it, allow us to think about this more carefully. We have in our midst our history, shall we say, your history upon this world. And during the time of Atlantis and Lemuria, most of the Atlanteans and Lemurians were awakened, shall we say. It wasn't until they had completed their journeys there that they truly forgot who they were and where they came from and things like this. Although the journey of forgetting began before the destruction of both of those lands. And we look through history and we see there have been those who have been aware or somewhat awakened, those who were involved in the mystery schools of Egypt, the Druids, the ancient Greeks, the Sumerians, the Magi. But they were awakened in the sense of being able to utilize certain gifts and abilities. They were not overly awakened with regards to where they came from in true reality and who they are. No, you see, in truth, that is a more current phenomenon, shall we say. Even the sleeping prophet, shall we say, Edgar Cayce, never was aware that he was a starseed. He simply thought that he had a gift for being able to bring through this voice. And of course, the mediums back in the late 19th century, they just felt that they could speak to those who had lived and who had crossed over. But beginning in what you term the 1960s into the 1970s and then into the 80s and so on and so forth, there were those who began to awaken to a greater reality, not just to different abilities, but to the knowledge that they came from somewhere else, that they were starseed. They only remembered bits and pieces, and then they would make assumptions. And this is where the terminology has come forth on the ascension. Everyone believes they are here to ascend, and they are not. They are here to assist with the ascension of this world, the native human population. And so they remember snippets, and they think that it means for them. But that is fine. So the question begs, why the starseeds are awakening now? They began awakening in the 60s and 70s and into the 80s. This one, although he had experiences going back into the 70s, his journey consciously began in what you term 1986. Everything in divine time, you see. The harmonic convergence was in 1987. And with the harmonic convergence was a choice. And it was a choice that the native human population had to make, a percentage of them, which was, do we move forward and evolve now or not? In other words, we're going to choose no and do it another time. And they chose yes, that it was time. So in 1989, a cycle began, which completes in 2034. The midway point was 2012. The midway point in 2012 was the point of no return. But after 87, the awakening process began to speed up a little bit. Not a lot, very slowly. And ever since 2000 has been gaining speed up until 2012, and then in 2012 it went into overdrive, shall we say. So why do we have so many starseed awakening now? We have talked about this somewhat, but it is time to delve a little deeper now. There are technically 5 stages to Project Earth. Phase or 5 phases. Phase 1 is the phase of choice. It is within phase 1 that the native human population experiences everything that this world has to offer. Light, darkness, good and evil, everything. For many starseeds, believe it or not, most of their lifetimes have not been of darkness. There are those starseeds who have played in the darkness a lot, but there are dark workers who are starseeds on this planet. So what we have here now is a situation where phase 1 is moving along, and we finally reach that point, the point of choice. The choice is made. (2012) is the point of no return. 2000 is the point we hadn't been past yet in this project. And it is a misnomer in truth. Time is very skewed, you see. They view Yeshua as the 0 point in time, because that was the point that things began to shift and change. Before Yeshua, the main worship was of the goddess or the feminine. After Yeshua, it began to shift and change to the masculine aspect of God. With Source, or what you would term God, it is not a male or female in the sense of one over the other. It is a perfect balance of feminine energy and masculine energy. And therefore, the reason for the moment that has come now is, you see, generally in 2000, what would have happened had the answer been no, is you would have seen earth changes on a massive scale, and you would have seen the population drop drastically and dramatically. But the answer was yes. So what has happened is 2012 is the point of no return. What that means is one of two things. Either A, all life will have ceased on this planet, and everything will go through a process of being reset. That includes the animal kingdom as well. Or life will continue. And you see what happened after the year 2000. You had that event that they call 9/11, which began the conflict between those of light and those of darkness on who would lead moving forward. It started back then and has been continuing on. In 2015, an event took place, a ceremony. And that ceremony officially concluded Phase 1 of Project Earth. In 2000 began the opening of Phase 2. As of 2015, when Phase 1 was completed, Phase 2 fully started. So starting in 2015, 50 to 60% of the babies being born have mostly, if not all, of the new energy in themselves. So their choices moving forward as they grow up, for many of them, will be very different than it has been in the past. There are many who are choosing to leave now so that they can come back with that new energy. There were those coming in with that new energy as far back as 2000. But the percentage of new energy within those being born began really increasing after 2015. So now we are in Phase 2. And Phase 2 is somewhat of a transitional phase. And this is where all of the starseeds who are meant to awaken are awakening. And it is not because we need more spiritual teachers or readers or healers. It is because as the starseed awaken, an encodement awakens within them or activates within them. And this will allow them to literally bring in an anchor, even being completely unconscious of it, to bring in an anchor, the new energy, into the earth, which also goes into the grid works around this planet. Now, the being that you know of as Cryon, he is the one who upgraded all the grids, the planetary grids. We have been making some adjustments to them over the last few years to accept even higher vibrational frequencies in the new energy that is being brought forward. So the more that the starseeds are awakening, the more this will come in. Now this information is very, very important. You see, in the past, when a being would come in and be channeled for people, the information that would be brought forward would be metered out so as not to confuse the situation, so as not to create a situation where people were unaware of what is happening, what's going on, things like this, because they didn't want to give too much information out. But we have been in discussions, a lot of them, and we have decided to give more information out. We've chosen to speak through this one to do this for a very simple reason. He's not filled with all of these beliefs around certain channelings and things like this because he doesn't listen to them. He hasn't listened to them for a very long time. So he has no idea what we are going to say when we come in and speak. And he has no idea many times of what actually has even been said afterwards because he doesn't remember. And because he can't stand listening to his voice, it's perfect because he doesn't even listen to the messages that have been brought through him. So the information can be clearer and filled more with the information that you require. So here we go. Many of you, as you awaken, you discover a simple truth. All of a sudden you realize how tired you feel. You feel incredibly tired. You want to go home. You're over it. You've had enough. That's very understandable, considering, let's say, you've had 200 lifetimes of being asleep. And now all of a sudden you awaken and you realize, wait a minute, I've been here a really long time and I am tired. I want to go home. I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is you are going to be going home. The bad news is you're not just yet. You see, for most starseed, I would say approximately 80 to 90% of starseed who are currently on the planet, you will have another anywhere from 2 to 4 lifetimes remaining to incarnate, and that's it. Then you will be going home. But if you think about it, let's say you have 4 lifetimes left to lead. You've lived 200. 4 is nothing. And the other thing to remember is when you come back after this incarnation, you won't come back and be aware as you are now as far as where you come from or that you come from somewhere else, things like this. Only through as many starseed as possible being awakened will we succeed in infiltrating enough of the new energy into the earth to completely shift everything around. Because then the job of the starseed is to help usher in phase 3. Phase 1 is the age of choice. I spoke about this some time back. Phase 2 is the age of awakening. So let us look at that for just a moment. It is more than just simply all of these starseed awakening. For you see, as the new energy is implanted into the earth, it is also being implanted into the collective unconsciousness. And as it is being implanted both into the earth as well as the collective unconsciousness, people all around the world, starseed, native human, they will begin to access and to touch that new energy. Things will slowly begin to change. The age of awareness is phase 3. This is where everything changes on this world. Phase 4 is another transitional phase. That is where the beginning of phase 4 will start when the first person moves out of the third dimension. And it takes time. Phase 5 is when all of the humanity of Earth ascends into the fifth dimension. That is many thousands of the years in the future. And it is fine. And we will speak about what is to come on Earth. But in the moment, we will remain on this topic. For you see, the more you interact with each other, the more you work at remembering what is within you, the more the door will open for you, and the more you will be able to begin accessing. And the more that you can access in truth, the more of the new energy you can bring in. The more new energy you can bring in not only benefits the planet, not only does it benefit the collective unconsciousness, not only does it affect and benefit every person on this planet, whether they are a starseed or a native human, but the more it will actually benefit you. This isn't a situation where you have to actively invoke the new energy. It is coming in every day. The way to increase the amount of new energy coming through you is to do your work on yourself, which is about releasing those things that you need to release, forgiving those things you need to forgive, and allowing yourself the freedom to live your truth, follow your heart and guidance, discernment, trusting your intuition. You see, there is a reason why we tell you these things so often. There is a reason why he says this to people so often. Because just in doing that simple thing will increase the amount of new energy coming in. Because you have to understand, the more new energy that comes in, yes, it benefits the planet. Yes, it makes a difference in the collective unconsciousness. Yes, it begins to make a difference planetarily for every person on the planet. But it really assists you. It helps to open you up more. And the more that you can release, the more that you can forgive, the more you can move beyond those things, the easier your transition into your next incarnation will be. The less you will have to do on the other side. The less that will need to be cleaned up, shall we say. It is part of something extraordinary. You see, more extraordinary than you can imagine. You are here at this time, incarnated into your life because of who you are. I do not say this flippantly. I do not say this as a joke. You truly are the ascended masters of Earth. Now you may say to yourself, well, I don't feel like an ascended master of Earth. I don't know where I come from. I don't know why I'm here. I don't really understand what I'm here to do. The first thing that you do is don't push. Sit back and ask yourself a question. What are you most passionate about? If you can answer that question, then you'll know where your focus should be. But it has to come from the heart, not the mind. Now, the future of Earth that is being created, it is going to take some time. And it's very likely that it will not fully move into phase 3 in your incarnation. And this includes those who may be 20 or 30 years old. And you know what? That's okay. Because you see, this is guaranteed because you passed the point of no return. That is the most important aspect here. So what we are looking at is very simple. Religion will come to an end. Right now, there are many who are fighting tooth and nail to maintain religion in many different parts of the world. And there are more and more people walking away from religion. They are not walking away from what you would term God or their spirituality, just the dogma. Eventually, money also will go away. When money goes away, they will begin a process where things will begin to change on a fundamental level. They'll make sure that everyone has housing, has work that they can do, a job. They have food in their bellies. They'll make sure that everyone is not only being looked after and taken care of, but that they are able to contribute to the whole. When that happens, poverty will go away. Starvation will go away. Crime will drop dramatically. People will stop the focus of competition and then focus more on self-improvement and bettering not only their life, but the lives of those around them. Working towards shared goals, working towards the betterment of everyone and the planet, but not in a competition style way or not in an overly judgmental way like my way is better than everybody else's, so we have to do it my way. It won't be like that, you see. Sure, there will be those who will fight to try and maintain the old ways, but it is no longer necessary. And when that finally moves into this space, then you'll be moving out of phase 2 and into phase 3, which is the age of awareness. You see, you are part of something extraordinary. You are part of something that is beyond extraordinary. You have a planet of complete free will choice. That is not just for the native humans. That is for the starseed as well. The thing that to remember is this: there are those who will say, oh, well, if I have complete free will choice, this is my last lifetime. I won't be back. And then what happens is you get to the point where this incarnation finishes and you get to the other side. And of course you'll be like, oh yeah, no problem, I'll go back. Not a problem. You see, on the other side, you are more aware. of the situation. So I hear the question right now from somebody here listening. So what should we be focused on? You should be focused on your awareness, your awakening. This is where you are releasing the things that no longer serve you, where you are following your heart and guidance, you are trusting in your intuition, you're discerning the information you receive, and you just live. And the more you do that every day, the more of the new energy you will run into this planet. And the more new energy you run into this planet, the more you will receive. It is kind of like this. Let's say you are a healer. Someone comes to you and says, I wish to have a healing. And you're like, no problem, get up on the table and we'll do the healing. So they get up on the table and you do your healing, and they you finish and they're like, oh, that really is wonderful, thank you so much. They have received a healing. So have you. So the more that you do this work on yourself, you see, that also goes into the collective unconsciousness. And as that goes into the collective unconsciousness, then you have somebody that is in, let us say, in the country of Azerbaijan, and someone has upset them tremendously. And they have an inspiration. And they think to themselves, I'm not going to go there. And they forgive them. And they let it go. And they move forward. And they've done this because you did this. It's in the collective unconsciousness. They were in that moment able to tap in and get that energy and go, wait a minute, there's another choice. You see, you Starseed have a single track mind. I want to help people. I want to help people. I want to help people. By helping yourself in that manner, you are helping a great deal of people all over this planet. You don't need a pat on the back. I'll put it to you this way. Each of you will do what you are here to do. That I guarantee you. There will come a time where the people of this world will begin to openly, consciously interact with extraterrestrials. There are still many, many humans on this planet who will depart in a myriad of different ways, through natural occurrences, through accidents, through crashes, through, whatever the case may be. And for the most part, many of these will be coming back straight away, filled with a new energy, a new opportunity, shall we say. Now, as I begin to finish up here, if you have a question, type it in, and I will be happy to answer those questions. Now, you need to realize and understand something. In order to achieve a more balanced peace of mind, it is important to view things from a bigger picture perspective. And you do this in a myriad of different ways. And we wish to assist as well. We will share that another time. But needless to say, the more you can view things from a bigger picture perspective, the better it is for you. You see, you have to understand. You look around yourself and you think to yourself, my life is finite. And here it is. If you're lucky, you might make it to 90 or 100, maybe even 110. But your physical body is associated with this planet. Your soul is not. Your soul comes from somewhere else. In this incarnation, you view things in a finite way. And so you want to do everything that you can do while you are here. You want to make sure that you accomplish what you are here to accomplish. And I am here to tell you very, very simple. If you get up in the morning and you spend your day following your heart and guidance and trusting your intuition, utilizing your tools like discernment, you will do what you need to do. You will meet the people you need to meet. You'll have the interactions that you need to have. And if you do that, you will do what you are here to do. Stressing out about it won't accomplish anything. This is a very exciting time. And you are all here because you are truly masters, much more so than you realize or understand. Trust in that. Now I will be happy to entertain some questions. James, how long will phase 3 go for? Well, considering that when we hit phase 3, you as James Russell won't even be here. It depends. It will be successful. It may last for 400 or 500 years. It may last for 750 years. It depends. It depends upon the choices people make and the progress that they make. It is hoped that phase 3 will be completed in under 1,000 years. It just depends. Sadis, I am familiar with you. Your life for a while now has been in turmoil and transition. It is important for you to focus your attention on that which is around you, helping to put those things in order. Once those things can be placed into order, then the other things can begin to open. There are times you have to understand you are not disconnected from Source. You are never disconnected from Source. None of you are ever disconnected from Source, but sometimes the flow is restricted because you are supposed to focus on the physical at the moment, taking care of the physical side of things. You need to step back and do what you need to do for you in your life in this moment. Don't worry about the other stuff. When you have done what you need to do, it will still be there and it will open up naturally. If you try and force it, it will only cause you grief. So if you have a question, place it in there, just type it in. I'm happy to answer these questions. It is important to take things to another level, make things available for everyone. We appreciate the opportunity that is afforded to us to come in and to speak to all of you, to share this information. And in time, it will be the opportunity to bring even more forward to allow each of you to move forward in a more sustainable way. It is about you trusting in your own process and who you are. That is most important. There are different kinds of guardians. Guardians do not interfere unless it is a requirement or unless they are protecting something that must be protected for the overall project. There are certain individuals incarnated upon Earth that do have guardians with them. And there are different kinds of guardians. The guardians are becoming more active now that the Earth has moved into phase 2. And basically what the guardians are there to do is to ensure that everything moves through phase 2 and into phase 3. This is a very critical time. So there are guardians who are here as well as on the other side. And they are being kept busy because the process has begun in removing certain entities and beings from this world that have been creating some havoc and causing some problems for the overall project. And so the guardians have been busy in doing that. James, when can we see interactions between those of Earth and those of other planets? That is already going on, and it is already happening. On almost any given night, you can go outside, if it is a clear night, and see ships. But the main interactions aren't going to be happening anytime soon for many different reasons, partially because for many people it would cause and create friction and fear. Others, generally they are not ready. And furthermore, some of the groups that's going to be doing those interactions have not actually arrived yet. So there is much more to come in that regard. Wayne, you talked about feeling tired and wanting to go home. How can we deal with this? That is a very powerful question. Feeling tired and wanting to go home is a byproduct of awakening. What you have to do, and the only thing you can do, is to focus on the fact that you are here for a much higher purpose, a much higher calling. This is very important. There have been those recently, say in the last several years, who have had the opportunity to go home. And when I say home, what I mean is they won't be coming back here at all. And they have decided to stay. Because you see, you're here for a reason. So what you can do is, if you focus on connecting to home, the energy you receive from those who are from the same place you're from your home, will help to sustain you here. There is not an easy way to just deal away with that feeling and that emotion, except to focus on the fact that you are here for a reason. And that if you weren't needed here, you wouldn't be here. Tracy Woods. If I listen to various people speaking light language, sometimes it resonates, sometimes it doesn't. Does that mean the messages may or may not? The messages is for you to utilize your discernment. Does it resonate or does it not? When you listen to light language, some of it resonates, some of it does not. Why? Because there are countless dialects of universal light language. To give you an example, there's 3 different dialects right there. Just because it is not truth for you, just because it does not resonate for you, doesn't mean that it wouldn't resonate for someone else. There are starseeds from over 100 different worlds here. What is truth for one is not a truth for another, and it doesn't need to be. All you need to do is discover that which resonates within your own heart and explore it, experience it, and see where it leads you. Stacy, I am an expat and no place feels like home to me. Is it important to feel a connection to a location? Not necessarily. For this one, as you can probably tell from his accent, which is what we have to utilize for the most part. He comes from the United States. He lives here in New Zealand. He moved around a lot in the US because no place felt like home. The first place that felt like home to him was in New Zealand. For some people, there may not be a place that just really feels like home. Sometimes, especially when they awaken, there isn't a place on earth that feels like home. For him, for this one here, the reason New Zealand feels like home to him is because New Zealand has, for a country, probably the largest concentration of Lemurian energy on the planet. There is Lemurian energy in Hawaii, in what you would term the west coast of America, in the country of Peru, many places in Central America. So there are in many of the islands in the Pacific Ocean. So there are many places that have Lemurian energy, but as a country, New Zealand has the most amount of Lemurian energy. And he was very heavily involved in not only living in, but also creating Lemuria. So that's why here feels more like home. But if you want to know the truth of the matter, there isn't actually a place on this planet that actually feels completely like home to him. So that is not necessarily necessary at all. Basically, find that place that feels most comfortable to you. That would be my recommendation. Raylene Tamaka. I've seen beams of pink and yellow light in the sky during the day and a beautiful blue color in my third eye. Does this have anything to do with awakening? It has to do with your awakening because it is connections that are happening with you from the other side. Very true. Tracy. Is there a way to build a stronger connection to our inner guidance, to hear, see, feel more clarity and direction? Three words. Trust and faith. It must start within you. The more trust and faith you have in your own heart, intuition, guidance, will assist in opening this up more. And as that opens up more, it will enable it to create more of that energy that allows you to access more information. The more trust and faith you have, the more you can access. It is a process. It generally does not happen in an instant, and yet you can work on it for 5 years, and when it happens, it actually will seem to you like it happened with not much time in between at all. Because as you access more of that information, you are moving more into the quantum space, shall we say. We will finish there. Remember, this is your opportunity. You need to trust and have faith in who you are every step of the way. We are with you every step of the way. We work diligently with those who come from your homes. We assist them and we assist you. You are not on this path alone. I am Alsharon of the GodStar, in service to Source, to this earth, and to every starseed upon earth. Many blessings to all of you.